All right, so how you doing today, Wayne?
I'm doing good, man.
Good deal. And thanks for taking time to sit down and do this. I know you're a busy guy.
Yeah, no problem, bro.
Good deal. Outside of vaping, what do you like to do? Like, you got any other hobbies or interests?
Yeah, I like to play video games. That's been my thing the past few years. Because I really don't go out much anymore. I used to go out all the time, but I've kind of slowed that down. And now I just like hang inside, watch movies, play video games. I like to yo-yo. I'm pretty good at yo-yoing. Um, I don't know. I do a bunch of weird stuff. I like photography. I like to make. I just very creative, so I like to always make stuff.
Right.
And I'm always just filling my time with little things like that, like either going out taking pictures or doing some sort of project. I like to stay working though, which is a problem, but I do like to work as much as possible.
Well, you got to keep the mind occupied, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I like what I do, so it doesn't really feel much like work,
Right.
and it's nice to keep busy like that.
Absolutely. So how long did you smoke?
I smoked since I was like 14, 15 years old, and then I quit in 2012, and I vaped for 2012, 2013, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. So I'm almost like 8 years off of cigarettes.
Wow.
Um, yeah. Yeah, I quit in like late 2012, 2013. I pretty much my dad was smoking, and I saw that he had a vape, like a just a regular cigalike back in the day, and I
Hmm.
was like, I'll try this out. Then I tried like the ego pens, and like I was kind of on and off with smoking with that. But then I came home one day from school and I saw that he had like a nice mod, and then because I like tech and stuff like that, I was more interested in that sense. So I was testing it out, and I just was like, I could probably quit by using this, and I did. And once I got my first mod, I just never went back to smoking. It was really easy for me, and
Really?
I really did like smoking. I smoked a lot. I smoked a lot, and I really did enjoy it. But I don't know. It was just vaping made it so easy. I enjoyed it way more than I enjoyed smoking.
Yeah. You definitely smell better when you get done doing it.
Yeah.
Uh, you don't wake up coughing a lung up every morning anymore.
Yeah.
Uh, so let's go into that. How is how has vaping changed your life? I mean, as far as your health and all that.
Yeah, it's done a lot. Smoking's like the worst thing you can do for yourself. And it's done a lot in that sense where it's just I feel a lot more. I don't know. I still have other vices. Like I still stay up a little too late. I've been trying to fix that this year, and I've gotten a lot better at that. But in terms of just like longevity, I wasn't like a 30-year smoker like some people.
Right.
So I didn't have like those real dire health restrictions. So it wasn't too much health wise, but it was more professionally. Like it gave me an outlet to work and be creative and put food on the table at the same time. And that's really where I saw the industry, and I was like, this is really cool because it's a new industry. Other people can do this. And this is right after we had like a really bad economic period where people just didn't have any money. People were losing their jobs all the time, and kind of like vaping comes along, and you're able to kind of dig yourself out of whatever hole that you were in. And I thought that was really cool too. So that's really where it really changed me, was professionally.
Right. And So what got you into mixing then?
I don't know. I just wanted to do it. I knew it didn't seem pretty difficult. And then I kind of just looked it up online. I saw Fresh's channel was like one of the first ones that I've come across. And there was another older guy doing them. I forget his name. But I was watching his channel, I was watching Fresh, and I was watching just like random videos about it. And then I saw, because I wanted to start doing like some sort of videos in vaping, just because I was bored at the time. I didn't have much to do.
Right.
And once I started mixing, I was like, there's really no good DIY mixers other than Fresh. So it seems like a good opportunity to kind of make the videos that I want to make, but also expand, like have room to expand in, because it was so saturated. I mean, this was a time when I joined YouTube. This was the time where there was like Grim, Pibasardo, Rip Trippers, Twisted, and Indoor Smokers were like huge. But then other channels like Ruby Roo, Suck My Mod, those channels were coming up after them. And there was like this rush of reviewers just all reviewing the same products. And I was like, I don't know if I want to do that. I was like, I do want to do some sort of videos though. And then mixing kind of fell into my lap. And then I figured I'd just make videos on that. And, always just kind of, I thought it was way more cool and way more fun to do videos and just to mix compared to like coil builds and vape reviews. I was like, it never really interested me that much. I thought mixing was way more interesting, way cooler. The community was cooler. It had like this kind of underground vibe to it. So that's kind of what kept me in it and kept me drawn to the community. It was just like this kind of niche, like weird, obscure scene that you saved money and you were able to vape anything you wanted, anytime you wanted, at any amount. And I was just like, how do people not know about this? More and more people need to get on this train because it's pretty rad.
Right. So how long has DIY or die been a thing? I mean, like officially as a company.
Since 2015, I believe. It might be late 2014, 2015. It actually became an actual business in 2015, but I started working on it a little bit before that.
Right, right.
So yes, it's 2015, so almost 4 years now. Well, I guess it would be a little over 4 years now since it's February 2019. So a little over 4 years now, yeah.
Where are you trying to take DIY or die, like in 2019 or in the future? Where would you like to see things go?
I don't really know. I want to do more hardware reviews now because I know a lot more mixers. They ask me all the time, like, what RDA I'm vaping, how to get the best flavor. Like, people start mixing and they're mixing for sub tanks and they're mixing for like really shitty RDAs. And I want to kind of show them like, there's better RDAs for mixing, like specifically for flavor for people who mix. And I want to do more stuff focused on that. Not completely do it, switch it over, but just to add that stuff in. And kind of just keep doing what I'm doing. I want to try to get on like real shelves this year too. Like get my one shots like actually in stores with some sort of kit that people can actually go to the store and buy it and start mixing that way. Because right now you have to go get your stuff online, and it's great. I mean, it's awesome that it's there, but I do want it on shelves. I think that would really start to show people like it's a viable option for them,
Absolutely. I'm lucky. I have a vape shop, my home vape shop at the house. They sell concentrates and they sell nicotine and PG and VG and
Oh, really?
bottles and all that. So I kind of got lucky there. I mean, that's how I got into it. Was
Oh, that's awesome.
I bought my first stuff from them. Now, one thing that I don't like is like they'll sell you a banana cream, but they won't tell you who makes it. Right, because everything's labeled for their shop. But at least it gives it puts it out there that people can do it.
Yeah. Yeah,
Uh,
it's pretty cool though.
so how how many concentrates do you have? Do you know roughly?
I have no idea. I have no idea.
A couple,
Probably in the thousands. Because I
right?
have this stuff at my office, but I also have like an inventory um of like flavorings that I use a lot and some that I just never use. It's probably in the thousands.
Right.
But I have no I've been meaning to like actually put an inventory on there because there are software that you can like track. So like all the flavors kind of has one where if you mix something, it'll subtract it out of your inventory. And I've always wanted to do that, but I just have so much that it's just like I'm gonna have to pay someone to do it because I'll
Right.
never do it. It's just too
Right.
much.
Yeah. Once you got so many and you're so far behind, it's kind of hard to go back through and do it.
Yeah, I'm just not motivated. It would probably take me like a good 2 weeks to do
Well,
all of it. Yeah,
I've I've only got about 500 flavors on the truck with me, and I still don't
that's
have it
plenty.
all in there that way.
That's plenty though. Are you like trying to mix like make new recipes, or are you just mixing just to have something to vape?
Oh no, uh, I make my own stuff, and then I mix other people's stuff. Uh, but
Yeah.
my whole point was to show that if you want to do something, you can find a way. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm in a truck and I mix in the truck. I do YouTube videos from the truck. I do interviews from the truck. I mean, it's all about having that mindset of if you want to do something that you can do it, which is kind of like what you done with DIY or Die. I mean, you took an ideal and figured out a way to make a living at it,
Yeah.
and I think that's kind of cool.
Yeah, I think the fact that you do it all from your truck is awesome too, because it's like some people think like, oh, I need to dedicate a whole room and get all this stuff, and it's like you just need your flavors and a scale and a bottle to put it in, and you can
Right,
start doing it. It gets pretty easy.
right. Uh, do you still do a single flavor test or some form of that?
Yep, yep. I've been doing that since forever. Since I started DIY, that was mainly how I started DIY or die. I was doing flavor reviews. There really wasn't anyone doing flavor reviews when I was doing them. So I would review a flavor and then like really test it out and then write like really intricate long form reviews on them, pairings, what percentages to use them at, what off notes they might have. And it was a lot of work, and I was like, you know what, I'm not going to put this out there for free. And a lot of people hate me for that. They think that that information should be free, and there are people who do it for free, but it was just so much work and so much time. And like I really take my time with these flavorings. Like I want like definitive like definitive a definitive review and summary of these flavors. And I was like, I could probably make some sort of money back on these if I just charge a little bit of money for access to get these reviews. So now that's what the flavor book is. And I don't know how many flavorings are in the flavor book, but there's a shitload.
Right.
It's something that in 2019 I want to finish at least the entire TFA catalog in 2019, and then hopefully start to put a nail in the coffin on the Flavor West ones, and then kind of work my way through. But yeah, I've been doing flavor tests for a while now. It's very vital. You need to be doing those if you're doing any sort of content.
Absolutely. It's something that people don't like to do, but I think when you sit down to mix and you know what you're looking for, it makes it easier rather than sorting through 50 strawberries to find the right one. If
Hmm.
you've done flavor testing, you're going to remember, or at least be able to look at your notes and see, hey, this one kind of tastes like that.
Right.
Uh, so yeah. What's your favorite concentrate? Do you have a favorite? Like like one that if you can put it in everything, it's going in there.
I don't really know. I would say I use I probably use Capella's New York cheesecake a lot. I use um What's another one I use? I like vanilla swirl a lot, but I wouldn't really say they're my favorites. They're just so useful.
Right.
I would say my favorite. I mean, I really like Cabela's lemon lime. That's been one that I've been using a lot more. And my candies and fruits, that one seems to work out really well. I don't really have a favorite, but there are a few that I use a lot, just because they're so versatile. The flavor are almond. I find that one's really, really good. I love RY4 doubles. I really like the new Hangson's Australian chocolate. That's been fun to use.
Yeah.
So it's kind of have like different periods that I go through. I'll have like certain flavors that I use a lot, and then I'll get bored of them and switch to a different one.
Right. Where do you get inspiration for recipes or profiles to mix?
Well, I used to like just like troll around online and see what other people are doing, like chefs and bakers and stuff like that. And I'll go to like, I'm subscribed to so many food blogs and dessert blogs and food YouTubers and stuff. And that's kind of where I'll pick up ideas. And then like a lot of people in the community, there's, you know, it's crazy now in the DIY scene. So there's always something fun and new being made. So I like to kind of, you know, get inspired by that. And I would say that's pretty much it. A lot of it is really just me kind of just thinking of something and then just saying like, all right, let's try to whip this up. There are times where I do need motivation. I just have like mixer's block, but for the most part, I'm pretty good at just like, there's just so many profiles that I want to get done that aren't done. Like cookie dough is an example. I've been trying to do that one forever now.
Right.
Like a good, rich sort of vanilla pudding, like the Ultramel from South Africa. You know, there's just so many that I've had backlog that I don't think I'll ever run out of ideas in that sense.
Right.
It's mainly like motivation comes from how people use certain flavorings that I haven't used them in, like the way that like 007 by Alfred Pudding, the way he kind of developed that one without using any cola ingredients. He made a cola without cola ingredients, and that's always fun to see, and that kind of motivates me to see what else I can come up with.
What's a favorite recipe of yours? Like
my favorite of mine?
Correct, of yours that you've made.
I would say the one that I vape the most is probably rose milk. It's just like a strawberry cheesecake ice cream. I vape that one probably the most. I would say that one's probably my favorite, but also Obsidian and Pistachio RY for you. Those are my two. I think the Obsidian being like the one that was like crazy. That's a crazy recipe that's just so delicious. And I think still Rhodonite is probably my best recipe. I don't know if it's my best. I don't know. I think it's either Obsidian or Rhodonite is what I think is my best work. And I'm always trying to kind of strive for that profile, like that flavor that just kind of globally everyone just enjoys.
Right. I really enjoy the Rhodonite for sure.
Yeah.
Now, you brought up rose milk, and you know, I get questions from the community as well. And I heard what you said on your live video on Instagram concerning the rose milk recipe.
Mm-hmm.
So somebody asked me to ask you about that. Have you figured out how you're going to end up releasing that, since obviously you are better at hide and seek than we are?
Yeah, I'm probably going to. There's a few things that I have in mind, but I'm thinking maybe by the end of this year is when that recipe will be uncovered. Like I'm gonna do it in a way where by the end of 2019 it should be uncovered. That's all I'll say about that.
Gotcha.
But I haven't forgotten about it.
And what's the status on the carrot cake guy? Have you ever found him? What's that deal?
The carrot cake guy is so annoying. He's an annoying man. So I actually he's like super elusive, and he lives in not northern, it's like northwest Philadelphia, which is like not a good area to be in. So my plan was to go there with my camera gear, which is upwards of $5,000-$6,000 worth of camera gear by myself to find this man in the hood. And I do want to do it, but there needs to be a little bit more planning involved. And not only that, but he's like hard to find. He's not an easy fellow to find. He's like on some train all the time, which is it's like a trolley. So you have to get to the train at the right times. And I've tried a few times to meet, like he likes to come down to Center City sometimes, and he sells his carrot cakes to the shop. And I've tried to go there to catch him there. And I've had his carrot cake. It's fucking delicious. I don't know how I'm going to make the recipe, but I have certain ideas. But I'm waiting for the right time to just say, okay, this is where he's going to be. I have a couple people with me. We're all going to go there at once so I don't get jumped for my camera gear.
Right.
And we'll finally put an end to this carrot cake chase. But then someone gave me his phone number, and it wasn't his phone number. So I thought that would have been perfect if someone like knew how to contact him, because then I can just have him come to my office. It's been a hassle, but I was actually just thinking about that the other day too. So hopefully soon, once it gets a little bit warmer, it's a little warm out today, I can figure something out to try to nail this guy down. And supposedly he doesn't like cameras, so who knows how this is going to go.
It'll be a journey then.
Yeah, it has been too. I mean, it's been like, I would say probably a good 12 times of me like heading out to that way to try to get this video done, and just something always just doesn't work out. So and none of it's on footage either. So it's been a journey already. I just wanted to just get his carrot cake from him, talk to him just a bit, and then hopefully have a vape ready for him that he can try. That's the goal.
Or what would be a concentrate, a flavor that we're missing, that like if you could call Bryson at Flavora and say, hey, I need you to make this, and they had to do it. What
definitely a sour, like an actual sour flavor.
Right, an actual sour.
Yeah, that one would be my number one. I spent a lot of money trying to figure out sour, because there's a lot of money to be made in sour. Like if someone actually figures out how to make sour, actually work in a vape, you'd be a millionaire. Like that's multiple millions of dollars right there, easily. Right. But it's just, I don't know if it's possible. I don't know if it's possible. I have a couple friends that go to Drexel who work in chemistry, and it's just not working out. But that would be one. And then I'd say cookie dough, like a real cookie dough. That's my white whale right now. It's like a perfect fresh cookie dough.
If you could be put in a room with like three people, not even necessarily mixers, just people that you would want to meet, in vaping or out of vaping, who would those people be? Probably
Rene Redzepi. He's a chef at Noma, which is like this crazy new wave cook. But his stuff is always just insane. If you don't know who Rene Redzepi is, go check him out. And then probably Anthony Bourdain. He was like one of my biggest inspirations. And then I'd say Bruce Lee. Bruce Lee was also a hero of mine.
That's pretty cool.
So two of them are dead.
Right.
And one is a little pretentious, so that's my answer. No one in vaping, though. I met a lot of people in vaping. They're all pretty chill. I don't really have any. I don't think there's anyone that I'd want to, if I had a wish, I don't think.
Right, gotcha. How much cotton do you think that you've gone through? And this all comes from when he does his single flavor testing, he changes the cotton in between each flavor. Mm-hmm. So he's wanting to know if that's absolutely necessary.
Yeah, it's necessary for sure. You have to change it. If you're testing flavors, you have to have fresh cotton, and you have to break the cotton in. Even if it's like something like I like to use cotton bacon because I find it has the most least break in, but you still kind of have to break it in a little bit. But if you're testing recipes and you just want to get a good understanding of the recipe and like you're close on something, there's a few scenarios where you don't really need to change your cotton. Like when I do live mixing and I'm vaping on my whatever juice I'm vaping on, and then I'll go and make a recipe. I'm not looking to make like the perfect recipe in that situation. I just want to get like, how close am I? Am I in the right ballpark on this profile? So I don't need to change the cotton on that. But when you're flavor testing and you really need to know the nuances and the subtleties of a flavor, it has to only be that flavor on that cotton. And it's annoying, and I wish something like the Goat by Grim Green was able to like swap out coils real quick, but it's something you got to do. And I actually don't go through too much cotton. I would say, I don't know how much, but I go through a lot less than people think. I'd say that. I've only had to buy cotton maybe 10 times in all of my vaping. I don't really need to re-up on cotton too much, so that's probably a good indicator of how much I use.
Right. So are you aware of the lives that you've changed and the positive influence that you've had on the community? And if so, how does that make you feel?
I mean, I'm kind of aware of some people that I know. Like I've had few people email me, and they've been touched by my work in some way, which is always really, really just humbling. It's really cool to hear that, especially when it's stuff related to like recovery and stuff. It's something that I'm super, passionate about. And that stuff's really, it's awesome. I just would never expect to be in that type of position. So that's really cool when that happens. And, it's just something that I don't consciously try to do that either. I don't consciously try to reach out to everyone. I just be myself, and then I do what I like to do, and I stay clean doing it. And if that helps people, then that's awesome. And I'm like the easiest person in vaping to get a hold of. And I pride myself on that. Some people in vaping, for some reason, you just can't get in contact with them. You can't ask them questions. Like I'm really easy to get a hold of. And it's because I know that there are people out there that want to know some stuff about mixing, or they want to know some stuff about recovery or business or anything like that. And I make that's a conscious effort that I make to help out where I can. But yeah, it's pretty damn cool. It's pretty damn cool. I just hope that I can, keep it going, keep it up for the people that are supporters of me and what I do.
Absolutely. So how long have you been in recovery?
Well, I got clean. How old was I? I don't remember exactly what year it was. I got clean on Halloween when I was 20. I think I was 20. I just turned 21 that year, and then I got clean. And then I came back from, I spent about a year in rehab. I would say I spent about, I think, was it 3 or 4 months, like actually in the rehab. And then I went to a sober living for the remainder of the year, and then left that area, or left that sober living, and continued to go to rooms for another year while I was I think I was in Philadelphia at the time, living with Kate, who was my girlfriend at the time.
Right.
So it's been since then. It's been since I was about 21, 22 years old since I've been in recovery. And I stopped going into rooms about 4 or 5 years ago. And I've been meaning to go to some, like I like to pop in every once in a while, but I haven't been in a couple of years now, but I've been meaning to. So I'm still in it. I'm still very active, like in my own recovery, but I don't do the program the way that I used to.
Right.
Just because I don't know if I shouldn't say if I don't feel like I need to, but I feel like I don't need to, you know, I'm just really busy, and like I'm good at knowing when I would need to go. That was the one thing that, like, I'm good at knowing when I'm in trouble. So I've just because I've been so busy and just so 100% about doing this and doing work and other stuff, that I just really haven't had the time to worry about it. And that's been nice. And I feel like that was a huge step in beating that addiction out. Plus, I don't really drink either, you know, but I do drink sometimes. So some people wouldn't call that recovery. You know, some people say if you have to be 100% sober and clean and this and that. And that's another thing, like, why I kind of left it. There's too much rigidity in that, especially that old school AA stuff,
Right.
that it just wasn't for me at this time and at that time. But I would say, yeah, I'm definitely still in recovery personally. That's what I believe. But it's been since I was 21. It's been since I was 21.
Good deal. Well, congratulations on that, of course. And
Thank you.
do you think that DIYing helped you keep that has helped you remain sober and all that?
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Right.
It just keeps you busy.
Right.
It
Right.
keeps you busy. It keeps you spending money. You know, you don't have extra cash kind of, you know, laying around, and it just keeps you busy. And that's like the most, I think, at least for me, and the type of addiction that I had, it was staying busy, just making sure that there was always something to do that was more fun than, you know, withdrawing from opiates or something.
Right.
And yeah, you know, maybe indirectly it helps me, but it definitely doesn't hurt. You know, it keeps you busy, and it's a good hobby, keeps you creative. And there's a lot of cool people in it. And that also has a big factor in it as well. I've made a lot of really good friends from DIY. And that'll help you stay sober as well.
Right. How do you feel about and handle or take constructive criticism from the community?
I used to really like try to factor that into what I would do. So someone would say like, "Hey, your videos are you talk too much in your videos." So then I'd see, even if it was like a trolly kind of way, like even if it wasn't constructive, but it was a criticism, I'd be like, "All right, maybe my next video I'll work on that and make sure that, you know, whatever they said, that I try to do that." But then it got to a point where I was just like, these people really don't care. You know, they're really not being constructive about it. So there's no point to listening to it. And that was more like 2 years ago where I felt that. And then I was kind of just like, I'm just going to do what I want. And nowadays it's just like, I don't really take in much criticism at all anymore. Even if it is constructive, I know what I want to do, and I know the kind of content that I want to produce. And that was when I was doing my best work, was when I was producing the kind of content that I wanted to produce in the way that I wanted to do it. That was when I had the most exposure. That was when people talked about me the most. So now, you know, the end of 2018 till now, that's really what I've been focusing on. Just like literally just doing whatever I wanted to do on my channel and however I wanted to do it. Not really taking in that constructive criticism, even in my recipes and in my DIY journey. Like I would see someone's criticism and, you know, this recipe tastes a little bit this way, this recipe tastes a little bit this way, and I would go and try to change that. And still to this day, sometimes that criticism is warranted, and I'll listen to it and I'll say, oh, you know what, they're right. You know, this pistachio is too bright or something. But I'm also experienced enough to know when they're not right. And
Right.
sometimes I'm just like, you know what, they just don't know what I'm going for here, and it's just not working for them. And that's okay, because I know that this is the way that I want to take this recipe. So if they don't like it, then, you know, there's another recipe out there for them that they will like. So it's that was the biggest thing that I learned throughout all of this, is criticism, and how to and how to take it and how to really listen to it or to really ignore it, because it's hard either way. It's hard to really understand. It's hard to keep what you have planned going, but also in a way that maybe you are wrong in certain areas. So finding that right line is really important. But you know, you also can't listen to everyone. You can't take everyone's. You got to do your own thing too. You know, so it's been a journey.
Have you ever been asked to, like you do ever so often, I think once a year, you usually do like a remix month.
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever been asked to remix something that you created, but obviously because of non-disclosure agreements, you can't like say, hey, I know this exactly?
No.
I was just curious.
Well, I have been asked. Yeah, I have been asked that about a couple of juices that I did create, but I just didn't answer them. Like I didn't respond back to them. But no, I wouldn't respond either.
Oh, right.
Yeah, because I definitely get sued for that if it found out that I was remixing my own recipe.
Yeah, well, and that was my point, I guess. I figured that would put you in a spot. I mean, because
Yeah.
you could get really, really, really close, right?
Right. Yeah. Yeah, because I also have like all the recipes of all the work, so I'd know like, all right, I know that this flavor is in here, so I can use this substitution at maybe a lesser percentage and get pretty close to it. But then you're being dishonest on both sides. You're being dishonest to the person that's asking for the remix and also the company that told you to shut up about it, you know? But there's been I would say two scenarios where that happened. And funny enough, they were by the same person. The same person asked for two different juices that they really enjoyed that were my recipes. And I just didn't answer them.
So somebody wanted to know, how did you end up a Cowboys fan after growing up in Philly?
Well, I didn't grow up in Philly. I grew up in Jersey.
That's right. Yeah.
And just as my father was a Cowboys fan, and I don't know, man. And it's been rough. It's been rough being a Cowboys fan, especially now living in Philly. And like during the Eagles Super Bowl when they won, I was definitely an Eagles fan that night, and it did feel nice. So who knows? I might switch over to be an Eagles fan. I don't really take it that seriously. You know, I have been a Cowboys fan all my life, and my father would probably kill me if I ever switch to the Eagles.
Right.
But it is kind of cool, you know, having a whole city that, you know, is dedicated to one team. It's hard to be in it and not be a fan of that team. So who knows? Maybe one day I'll be an Eagles fan. I'm not making any promises though.
Right. Have you had any formal or informal flavor chemistry or flavorist training?
No, but that will be coming soon. So I've never studied this stuff before until I got into DIY. I never knew anything about it. But one of my best friend's father is a flavor chemist, and he's a flavor chemist for P&G. And one of my wife's friend's friend works for Givaudan. She's like a buyer for Givaudan, which is the biggest flavoring house in the world. And or not Givaudan, IFF, International Flavors. And I was speaking to her, asking about like if there's a way I can get into. There's apprenticeship programs and stuff like that. And we've been talking about maybe getting me into one of them and to actually developing flavors. But you need some like schooling. So I was thinking maybe I'll go get some of these credentials and then take this program because they make a lot of money, and they have a really cool job. You know, they taste food all day and make crazy shit all day, and they get paid a shitload of money to do that. So I've been thinking about that option. It's weird because I've never thought I would do something like that, but who knows? I've been enjoying it, and I think that could be a fun career path. You know, like after all of the smoke settles from the vaping industry, who knows? That might be the way I go. But I also like creating content, so I don't know what I want to do.
Right. And their follow-up question to that is, what would be your advice for somebody wanting to do some self-study on that type of stuff?
I don't think you can. You need like I said, there's an apprenticeship for a reason. It's a really It's a really, really, it's like getting a doctorate. Like it's a lot of work. It's a lot of chemistry. If you don't know anything about chemistry, then you're gonna have to learn the fundamentals of chemistry first, and then literally like go to college to learn that stuff. That's really the only way you're gonna learn it. But there's books and stuff out there that you can buy to try to learn yourself. I don't know the names of them off the top of my head, but I mean, if you have somewhat of a foundation in chemistry and you know organic chemistry and you know how to get access to a lab where you can study and actually, that's the other thing, you're going to need a lab to study in, which would cost you millions. So unless you have some way to access a lab, then there's really no way. You would have to go to school and then work your way up in doing it. So and maybe if maybe you should try doing that route, because that's something that I might do. Schooling is you don't have to do the traditional 4 years route. You can do whatever you got to do. Maybe it takes you 6, 7, 8 years to finally get that degree, but then you go and you get that apprenticeship, which is difficult. But if you're really about it, just know that there's a lot of money at the end of the tunnel. It's just a lot of work.
In your personal vaping, have you chosen to avoid flavors that have been reported to be associated with like a altered immunity response, such as like cinnamaldehyde or acetylcholine, orthovanillin?
Yeah, I've been more and more conscious of that. I literally just put up an article about a new study that came out of Harvard about diacetyl-acetopropanol, and I've always been very conscious of it, but it's not. I always try to create the best recipe I can, the healthiest way possible. Sometimes I will use a flavor that contains DAP or contains ethylvanillin or any other aldehyde, benzaldehydes, and I'll be conscious of how much I'm using that flavoring, but it's also not something where I'm like completely trying to avoid it, just because the science is still sort of out on how damaging it is at the levels that we're vaping them at. So if you want to know more, check out my new article that I just posted about the Harvard study. But cinnamaldehyde, I do my best to. I don't really vape cinnamon vapes anymore, and cinnamaldehyde is one aldehyde that I do get some sort of irritation from. So that's more of like a personal thing. But everything else, I do my best to make sure that I can craft the recipe in the best, like you would in cooking. You want to make the tastiest food possible, and sometimes it'll be a little bit unhealthy, and you use some unhealthy ingredients, but you're not going to drench everything in butter and deep fry it. There's a level that there's a way to do it right.
Correct. What would be your advice for a new mixer? Somebody just starting out. I mean, let's say even somebody they've got some flavorings, they've got their NIC and PG and VG and all that, but they're just overwhelmed. They don't even know where to start. What would you tell them?
Just mix other people's recipes. That's it. Mix my recipes. Mix your recipes, any person's recipes that have that are rated pretty highly. And I mean, like, someone reviewed it and said this tastes good, because there's a lot of shit recipes out there. Right. But find a recipe that has some reviews on it that say it tastes pretty good, that interests you, mix it up, and then go from there. If you would like the way that maybe you want a little bit more strawberry in that recipe, then turn the strawberry up or turn the creams down, or, tweak it in different ways. And you just go about it that way. And just keep mixing other people's recipes until you have 100, 200, 300 flavors in your library, and then you can start really getting into the nitty gritty. It doesn't take long, though. It doesn't take long to know how this all works. Some newbies, they when they first get into it, they can get a little overwhelmed, but after like that first few recipes that you make, it's super easy. It's like bartending. If you've ever mixed a drink, it's the same thing.
Right. Do you remember the first recipe that you made that you were like, oh, that's actually good, I can vape this?
Yeah, it was a strawberry milk. It was a strawberry milk. I think it was a strawberry milk. I think that was the first one. I think it was a strawberry milk. Because that was like Cutwood's unicorn milk. I was guzzling that stuff down at the time, and that was expensive at the time. It was also pink, bright pink at the time.
Right.
And I remember being like, I want to know if I can try to make this. And the first batch I did, I think I used like TFA strawberry ripe at like 7%, and then TFA cheesecake, graham crust, and graham cracker and brown. It was all like all TFA, and I mixed it up, and I was like, this is awesome. That was when I was like, all right, now we're getting somewhere. Now I don't have to buy this shitty unicorn milk for fucking $25 for 30 mils anymore. And that when you're mixing, that's like the best feeling in vaping. I think it's better than building your first coil. It's knowing that you don't have to buy juice anymore is like the best feeling you can get in vaping.
Right. It gives you some form of satisfaction.
Yeah.
Especially when it takes you a couple tries to get there.
Yeah.
Uh, as far as advocacy goes, uh, who at this point should be advocating?
What do you mean exactly?
Well, like, I mean, do you think that there's stuff that like everybody can do that doesn't take a lot of time, or like, because I mean, my concern, I guess, is for people who don't mix.
Mhm.
With this national flavor ban and stuff that they're wanting to do. I mean, it's 100% possible. Well, it is very possible if that went through that, like, vaping for them is just going to be gone.
Yeah, if you really want to help the vaping industry, then just buy vaping products, because the vaping industry needs money. That's what it needs. It needs lots and lots and lots of money. And there are great advocates out there. There are a lot of people who really want to help this industry in the way that it needs to be helped, but they need money. And the way they get money is by getting donations from companies. So just buy vaping products, be a good consumer, point out shit. If you see a company doing some crazy shady shit, do your best to make sure that that they don't exist anymore, whether it's like posting about it. Vaping Legion is a good place where they call out these companies who they have like terrible marketing practices and make us look like idiots. Show the Vaping Legion, hey, this is a company that maybe you want to look at. Because there's not much that a consumer needs to be doing other than staying off cigarettes and buying the products. That's the biggest thing. Just buy products. That's it. If you don't want to vape, if you're someone who doesn't vape but you do want to help the vaping industry in some way, then donate your money to some sort of advocacy group, whether it's CASA, which is a consumer advocates. Actually, I wouldn't even donate to CASA. I would donate more to, and you could, but I would donate more to like some smoke-free association that is dedicated to vaping advocate in your local state, because that's where mainly the fights need to be won, isn't at the local level. The federal level is going to do whatever the federal level does. There's a lot that needs to be done in lobbying. There's a lot of big stuff, big movements that need to be made in the industry for any of that to really work. And that's just something a consumer is not going to need to deal with much. Just buy the products, enjoy them, talk about them, share them with your friends. That's it. That's all you need to do. What my job is, as the type of advocate that I am, is I have a platform and I'm more interested in getting good, real science out about these products to people. So I've been studying about the compounds. I've been studying about what these compounds are doing to us in our bodies, what compounds to stay away from, and doing my best to make sure that the industry is educated on products. So, you're not vaping titanium like what was in the pink cutwood.
Right.
Let's make sure that stuff doesn't happen again. And that's what I'm doing as an advocate for myself. But if you're someone who is just a consumer, then just buy products, because they just need a lot of money. They don't have it. They don't even have close to the amount of money that's necessary. So just buy stuff.
Right. All right. So, is there anything else that you want to put out there that you want people to know?
Mainly, if you just enjoy what I do, if you enjoy DIY or Die, you enjoy the podcast network and all the shows associated with it, you enjoy whatever work that I do, whether it's in advocacy or if it's trying to get DIY mainstream and all that stuff. The best way to support me is to head over to my website, DIYORDIE'S.com. Check out the articles. Feel free to share them. Follow me on Instagram at DIYORDIE You can pick up a membership, which will give you access to exclusive articles, exclusive flavor notes, exclusive podcasts. And it's sort of like the way that I do my own Patreon. And you can also pick up my one-shots, which are basically just flavorings that you don't need to mix other flavorings with. You just mix them by themselves. You can pick those up at esigexpress.com as well as liquidbarn.com. And if you're in the UK, you can head over to chefsflavors.co.uk. That's where they have those there. And that's pretty much it. Just keep mixing.
Good deal. All right, Wayne. Again, man, thanks for sitting down and doing this. This
no problem, bro. Yeah, no problem. It was good. You had good questions.